Hi, I'm Heather, and I am making an attempt. This might be a little clunky, but I'm making an attempt at recording me watching a video of myself in early 2022. I am doing this because I want to give an update on kind of where I've been this year. I'm kind of reviewing my year, seeing where I've made progress and maybe what's led to that progress. There's definitely a lot of it has to do with the medication that I went on and kind of recommitting to a regular routine has been a big help as well. So I, yeah, we're just going to start this. So this little bit is just cute.
Oh, hi, it's Molly.
um, how I have elected to go back, start a new pharmaceutical medication for anxiety. And I haven't used them in quite a few years. I have some videos on this channel where I talk about going off of the ones I was on. I believe it was in 2016 that I was weaning off of them. And I kind of really did never want to go back on them after that. It's the whole experience of being on medication and going off medication and all the side effects at all the times. I kind of didn't want to mess with it again. But I've reached a point where it has been quite some time that I've been really struggling. And I found a doctor at a holistic care clinic. She's a naturopath and just really has a much broader perspective than any mental health professional I've ever worked with. Much broader range of modalities that she is trained in, and so I mean, I've had a lot of emotion coming up, and it's just, there's a lot of reasons why it could be part of it. Is there's a feeling of disappointment at being at electing to be on medication, and I know that there's no reason to be disappointed. I know that I'm using it as a tool, which is what I've always agreed was a really good use for this kind of medication, is to use it as a tool for a temporary, and for myself, it feels best to plan to only use it temporarily. And what that means is that I will be, working on the foundational pieces of my routine that will help support me in such a way that I can consistently feel I can consistently feel stable enough that I can kind of rebuild a life. And so this is just to support me until I feel ready to let it go. So this is I've now taken it twice. It is day 2. Most medications don't work really quickly, so for the most part, I wouldn't expect to be noticing a difference yet. However, this one in particular, the reason I chose it is because. Okay, so I'm going to pause there. Because unfortunately I go into a little bit of information that's not totally accurate about the medication I was on. So I don't want to spread inaccurate information. But the first medication I went on was something called quetiapine. And the reason we chose it was because it's pretty fast acting, as well as even though I am tapering off of it now, it's December, and I'll kind of explain how that went. But it's technically something you can take and then not take But I found it to be extremely beneficial. Within a week, I definitely was noticing quite a bit of less really deep lows. And I was sleeping a bit better. And yeah, it was definitely, I'm definitely glad I went on it. It definitely helped a lot. The bummer is that it really affects metabolism. And so within a pretty quick, I think it was like 2 months, I gained about 20 plus pounds. And I hadn't changed my eating habits. I had, like, it really was the medication. I talked with my therapist about it too. And she was like, yep, it's the medication. But we were trying to find something that worked really quick. And as soon as we get you a little more stable, we will switch to something that's not quite so hard, quite doesn't slow your metabolism down quite so much. Unfortunately, that particular doctor left the clinic I was working with, and so we didn't have time to get me to a point where she could kind of start transitioning me to another medication. And so I had to stay on the quetiapine a bit longer. But now I am working with a different doctor. She was more than happy to switch me to another medication. And so over the past month or so, I've been transitioning off of quetiapine and on switching to something called lamotrigine, which is supposed to do a lot of the same stuff without messing with my metabolism quite so much. The other big medication change I made was I've known for a long time that I have ADHD, but it was my primary care provider that was giving me fast acting Adderall, 20 milligrams a day. And he wasn't willing to increase it. He really wanted me to work with a therapist, a medication management therapist, to increase the Adderall or to change it to long, what is it called? Extended release. So while the fast acting Adderall definitely helped a great deal, kind of helped me kind of get stuff done and stay a little more focused. And also another thing I learned about Adderall is that especially when you need it, when you have ADHD, it's totally different for people who don't have ADHD. I don't know. I know their reaction is totally different. But one of the benefits of being on the correct dose of Adderall is that it also really supports reducing the huge swings of emotions that also can be really related to ADHD. So it's not just, kind of these big mood swings that I have in general, just for my mental health. It's also because of the ADHD. And since then, I have really come to believe and understand that I am very likely autistic as well, which also factors into meltdowns and, high emotion. So yeah, even that first doctor I was working with earlier this year, she was like, yeah, I think it would be a really good idea for you to get tested for autism. I think it's safe for us to work, create a therapy plan that includes that, that basically assumes you are autistic. And then the next doctor that I did end up working with also just 100% agreed. So she's like, I'm going to put in a referral for you right now. In the in-between time, I had to get on a bunch of wait lists, and, all the therapists were like way out. And so it worked out well that actually my first therapist replacement was able to work with me. So I'm really grateful for that. It helps a lot to be appropriately supported. Okay, so now I'm going to move this video forward a little bit. I'm going to 11:14. Okay, what am I talking about here? Let me mute me again. I wrote a bunch of notes for myself, so I probably should read those at some point where I had a brainstorm around, hey, it would be really smart to share this experience as I navigate it as best I can with as good of detail as I can remember. Okay, so this definitely was something I intended to do, what I'm saying right here. I found that I just really didn't have the capacity or the energy to keep up as I went along. And so, there's only so much I guess I can say at this point because it's not super fresh in my mind anymore. But one of the main things I learned is that basically psychology and medication management has made some big changes and a lot of upgrades, and a lot of new information is out there in the past compared to 5 to 10 years ago, when basically therapists still believed very strongly that depression and kind of everything kind of went back to a chemical imbalance like serotonin, and now that's been proven to not be completely accurate. I knew that all along, but the other big change is that this is the first time I've been on what's considered a mood stabilizer. Before, I had always been on like Wellbutrin, or I don't remember the names of all the things I tried, but they didn't work. And they probably didn't work because really what I need to be treated for is ADHD, autism, and complex PTSD. That's what I need treatment for. And that is different treatment than just giving drugs that didn't work for me. Anyway, I'm really grateful to have finally gotten to try a different kind of medication. And I'm really grateful for the stability that it has definitely helped me feel more and more over the past handful of months, as well as the ability it's given me. I know it's the Adderall, it's the quetiapine. Now we're switching to lamotrigine. I know that those have helped me a lot be able to keep up with my routines. So that's the main thing. Like, I was real thrown off in 2021 by basically losing one of my primary routines of exercise was yoga. My physical therapist identified that part of the reason I was in consistent back pain, as well as some other issues, was because I'd actually kind of overextended myself, overstretched with yoga, and I had hurt myself. And so she gave me different exercises and said no yoga at all for a while, like at least a year, if not a couple of years. What I've noticed after giving up yoga, since I didn't have something specific to replace it, I started to go a little off the rails throughout all of last year. And 2021 was actually a fucking shit show year. I mean, in some ways it was worse for me than 2020, for me personally and in my family. And then 2022 has essentially been me trying to recover from 2020 and 2021. And as part of the reason I was just a fucking mess at the beginning of 2022. I went home to my mom's for a couple of months. That helped somewhat, but that's when I was still unmedicated and hadn't found a therapist yet. Starting in February, I started working with that first therapist, and in March, she put me on the medication. This video that I'm watching now was made in a friend's house that I was staying in for it was supposed to be most of March, but I ended up only staying like until mid-March. But that was another really lovely option for me. I basically, needed a break from basically from my relationship. I needed a break from me. I needed a break from my regular life. And so kind of moving out of my place for about 3.5 months was really helpful. And then I moved back in with my boyfriend, and things have definitely really moved along really nicely since then with him. We've worked out a lot of the things that were going on that were difficult, as well as I know that a big piece of our challenges last winter was my mental instability playing a big role. So let's see, I think at this point, I think I'm going to actually just go ahead and stop this video now, and I'd make a separate one because it looks like, according to my notes, I'm mostly talking the rest of this video about navigating the system. And that's definitely interesting, but I want to, keep it, oops, I didn't mean to change that. I want to keep it reasonable. So now I just want to, I'm going to show just a little bit more of Molly. Let's see. So let's wait, what that is 2237. She's so cute. Okay. Share my real life experience with the state health system, with choosing pharmaceutical medication for mental health issues, and even I'll talk about my experience of ADHD and that medication, and just like navigating all of that. I could layer in so many other layers, like how difficult the medical system itself, like finding doctors and finding the right doctor, and how many steps it takes to go through to find that. But that feels too big. I don't feel like dealing with that one yet. Anyhow, I think that's all I want to do. Well, I keep remembering I have a video editor so that I can just like send him videos, but then also it's extra steps that I don't have the capacity for quite in this moment. So I think it's better for me to stop and make new videos instead.
All right, do you feel done, Molly? I feel done. Yes, I feel done. I wish you'd get off of that thing so that we can just cuddle. Yeah, that's what I wish.
Okay. One of the fun things that I discovered earlier this year is that I actually have the ability to, I don't know, it's just like voices come to me really easily, and especially with dogs and little dogs in particular. I don't know what it is, but it's pretty fun. Okay, so there's this one little bit left that I will that we're going to do, and then this video will be over. I like to use these. All right. Well, thank you again for being on the receiving end, and I hope you create yourself a buck-yes day, because I know I will the best I can from your crazy town. Okay, so hopefully I remembered to unmute myself when I was actually talking. Maybe I didn't, I don't know, but okay. All right, so thank you for being on the receiving end of this. I hope it worked out okay. I'm going to see how it worked, because I have a lot of videos that I want to do this with. Kind of basically, it's a combination of me talking to myself. It's a combination of sharing my experience in a way that I think could benefit others who are kind of on a similar path. I seem to collect people and friends who really have had a very difficult path in general, and they seem to have a lot of things in common with me, and I feel like I just happen to be maybe a couple of steps ahead, and can hopefully, keep holding that torch and be like, come on, you can do it. Come on, keep following. I've got a light right here. It's not as dark as maybe it has been in the past. So, okay. Well, thank you again. And I hope you have a fuck-yes day. And I no longer feel like I'm in crazy town, which is fabulous. And,